Welcome, Nasreen. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great. So we're going to have Nasreen on for our interview today, and she does two things hand in hand, which is actually quite fascinating in the world that we live in, where people seem to specialize only in one thing. We have someone that specializes in more than one thing and actually has learned to apply it in her business that she is currently in. Now, Nasreen, she's going to do a little introduction of herself and tell us a little bit where she stays and her current work situation. Nasreen.
Thank you for that. I live in Gaborone, Botswana, and I've lived here my whole life. I've studied here, got married and divorced here. My kids are here as well, and I really enjoy living here. We have a very peaceful environment, and yeah, it's really lovely living here. So I studied accounting, went to university, got the degree, got into corporate, had my own business, got back into corporate. And then last year, or 2020, I just decided I had enough of the formal sector. But together with that, 12 years ago, I went through a really traumatic time in my life. And I looked at ways to, we say, heal ourselves and to get up. And that's when I got introduced to the world of energetic healing. And for me, the two didn't weigh up. I mean, it just didn't make sense when I went for my first session. And I was like, no, this is a load of rubbish. However, I was in such a down space. I continued with the sessions. Thank goodness for that. And I saw myself shifting. And that's when I got into the field of energy work. And I looked at all the different modalities. And there was just so much ease in becoming whole and finding me again. And I just wanted to help other people and tell them that there is something different out there for you to use. And, you know, leaving corporate, I just thought to myself, okay, I'm going to do this full time. But then there was also people asking me, please, can you help us with our accounts? Can you help us with our books? And that's how I ended up in the two worlds. Very opposite worlds, but it works for me.
That's fantastic, because one of the things that I was thinking about while you were explaining what happened in your life, and as a result of what happened, you decided to do the healing thing. And I found that a lot of people that are in the world of healing or self-healing have normally gone through some harsh experiences in their life, health issues, family issues, before they actually got involved in this. In actual fact, they were forced into this world of natural or more healing. So that is my mom. She's just coming past here.
Hi, Mom. Yeah.
And in this is what I want to ask you. I've got a new question. I'm going to have lots of questions coming out of those stories that you're telling, because it's always nicer to hear a story than a bunch of facts. You said that you started this and you were fascinated by it, but then you were asked to be included in accounting. How does that work out for you, time-wise?
Well, since I resigned from corporate, I work from home. So I set my own time and I schedule according to what is required. So I do have a calendar. I'm a little old school in some ways. I have a physical piece of paper with dates on it. And, I make appointments and schedule it so that there are time for my accounting clients, my coaching clients, my family, and myself. I'm truly blessed because I live with my mom, my kids, my grandchild. So we have this whole big family village here together with the work and earning the income and serving people. And I just want to say, I think that because I work with the energy, I follow the energy, and the night before or in the morning, I ask what is required today, who needs me, where should I focus on, and that gives me an awareness of which direction to take. I think you're on mute.
How is the numbers in accounting actually showing up on people's temperaments and moods? Do you think those two are related to each other?
Yes, I think they are related, because when we work with accounting, we are focused, we're very linear. 1 and 1 only makes 2. And that is how it's got to be in accounting. That's for the world of business, that 1 and 1 makes 2 and not 11. But we tend to be stressed and under pressure. A lot of people have this fear of numbers, don't like accounting, find it a burden. But if you have a mindset, and I'm not going to say mindset, you have mind fluidity where your mind flows, you can have more ease with your accounting, so that you eliminate the stress factor and say, okay, I'm looking at this calculation or set of books or whatever it is you need, or this report. What is required of me? Where do I need to go? Something is not balancing. Take a deep breath, clear the head. I'm not afraid of this. I know the answer is there. And then go in with a clear mind. So you can use the two worlds simultaneously.
All right, but then also you're now working with a business, but you're also working with individuals at the same time. So you obviously got to, are you doing one-on-one appointments with these people?
I do one-on-one appointments with people in both sectors, and I also do group sessions. So when it's one-on-one, I have to tap into that person's particular energy and make sure that that person can hear what I'm saying. It's no point I just started off now with something advanced in terms of numbers or in terms of energy. I need to know what my audience requires. So I tap into that on a one-on-one basis and also as a group.
Right. And so this energy that you pick up from other people, is it something that you learned in your courses, or is it something that was intuition, or was it a combination of both?
It's a combination. And I just want to say that everybody has that capacity. It's a matter of becoming aware of it and then using it. We all have a sense of intuition. We all have a sense of awareness and knowing. We sometimes are in denial, and a lot of people, and I was that as well. I would never know. I don't know. But if you just take a deep breath and start to use certain tools and start to be more aware of yourself and what's happening around you, you can tap into anybody's energy field. A lot of people go with, I had that gut feeling that I had to turn left or I had to do something. And that is the start of your intuition.
Right. So you mentioned that you left corporate a few years ago, and that you started working from home. How did that go into the other? How difficult was it to work from home?
Well, during COVID, when we had the lockdown, I had to work from home. I worked for a company that was quite tech savvy, so I still had to work from home. So I already kind of had that platform to know that I could work from home. Created that space that, okay, this is my workspace, close the door, nobody disturbs me from this time to that time. So making the transition and formally leaving corporate, I already had that platform set. And I think it's possible for everybody, even if they didn't have that opportunity previously.
And would you take on new clients, let's say in South Africa at this point in time?
With the coaching, it's pretty easy because it's universal. With accounting, I am looking at that possibility as well. The accounting rules are technically the same, but the compliance laws, I think there would be some differences. And I have been asked to take a look because I designed a course specifically for Botswana, how to register a company, how to register with the tax department, and then how to keep a set of books and the various taxes that are available. That is pretty new. I had my first class on Saturday, and when I showed it to some of my South African friends, they were like, wow, we would really like to do that. So I think I'm actually looking to liaise with somebody or an accountant in South Africa that we could create something like this together.
Tell us a little bit about a recent client of yours that, somebody that you helped with a coaching session. Give us some background. I know you're not allowed to mention names, and a name is irrelevant in this situation, but something that's brought a lot of joy to you in the results.
I'm going to talk about something that happened a long time ago or in the earlier days. And this is something that, I'm so grateful for because I have somebody that was a client or still is a client of mine. And she said to me, she had an incident where somebody was trying to commit suicide. And I never worked with that degree of mental illness. And this young person came to me and we just dove in and I did all the clearings and things. I met him a few years ago somewhere and he came and hugged me and I was like, I don't even know this person. And then it clicked. It was this client who had come to me. And that just, it brings me so much joy to see, and that person is now on a great career path and living life. And for me, that is one of the clients that really stands out for me.
Great. And you mentioned the word clearing. Can you let the people know that are not familiar with the terms what clearing is?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we work from a space where we have, not everybody, but a lot of us have blocks. We have a certain way that we look at things, and the mind is closed or set at a certain vibration. So during my sessions, if it's not a physical session where I'm touching the energetic points and we're speaking like we are over Zoom, I ask questions without looking for logical answers. And then if there's something that feels energetically sticky, we just bring that up, and then I use some statements that that creates that block to be cleared.
All right. So say, for instance, somebody comes to you and they say, Nasreen, I'm really stressed out because my finances aren't great and I'm struggling to cope with my monthly overheads. How would you start that session?
So we would start with a logical format of looking at what their business is or what their stresses are, and then sort of look at the numbers and see if there's anything that can be done to change those kind of things, which would be like just purely business coaching. Then we would look at the stress, because when you're stressed and you say I can't, then you won't. And then look at like, What is it that stresses you? I don't have any clients, or I'm not getting out there. So can you take a deep breath? Can we ask some questions around that? Why don't you have clients? What is it that is stopping you from finding clients? What is it that's stopping you from people coming to you and looking for you? And everything that is, will you uncreate and destroy all of that? And then I will use a clearing statement. And the clearing statement is from a modality called access consciousness. So the clearing statement just creates that space. So it's an energetic space. And many times I've had situations like that where people will leave a session and in a day or two will say, you know what, somebody was looking for my services or something to that effect.
Okay,
I use it for me as well.
okay, give me an example of a clearing statement, one of the ones that you would use.
Okay, so the clearing statement that comes from access consciousness is good and bad, wrong and right, POC and POD, all 9 shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. There is a website and there is a YouTube that will explain what everything means in that clearing statement. However, it's not necessary to understand it. It's just like abracadabra. It's a wand. I mean, you can go into Google, you can Google clearing statements. It's not the only clearing statement, but I found that to be truly, truly effective for me. And I mean, my kids think I'm like a fairy godmother because they'll phone me and, Mom, I'm having trouble with my exams. Can you clear something for me? And sort of just clear the panic for them.
Oh, that's actually great, because when you mention the fact that it doesn't need to make any sense, the big thing here is that a lot of stuff didn't make sense in the first place. And when you look at your problems, they don't make sense because you feel like maybe you feel in yourself you should have more, you should be worthy, but in the meantime, in the background, you're busy bashing yourself all the time in your thoughts and your actions. So I've been doing some self-study on a few statements and stuff that have been said by a guy called Edward Mannix. And he said that when he makes statements, or he has these clearing statements, he says, in your mind, while you're saying it, you kind of judge whether it's good or bad, or whether it's going to be work or not. But he says, our mind is continuously judging and being critical. And that's maybe the reason why people don't fully achieve in their life what they can achieve, is because they're so concerned about how they look and how they feel and what others think of them. And that is a big burden that we have to carry. It was my dad's funeral recently. At the funeral, I said, have you ever seen someone with a heavy bag on their back? When they have a bit heavy burden on their back, they bend forwards and say, look at yourself when you in the mirror. Are you carrying? What are you carrying? And I think what you're mentioning about the clearing is basically taking off those burdens that people are carrying with them and offloading those burdens. Because just one of the things you mentioned was take a deep breath. And I think most people, when they are not focused, when they are stressed, they are not even breathing. They're hardly breathing. They are. What would you say about that?
Okay, so you've touched a lot of things there. I'm going to start with the logical mind. We live in a reality of logic, and we use that part of our brain that is logical. If I put out an advert, then people should respond to the advert. That is the logic of it. Yes. If I go and I pay 50 Rand for something, I need to get 50 Rand back. And that's like really basic logic. But we have a much bigger brain than what we actually use. And that subconscious mind is where all the energy is. So by using the clearing statement, we're moving out of the logical mind into the subconscious mind to look at what else is possible. Okay? When we are breathing, the proper way to breathe is to take a full breath in, where the breath goes to the bottom of your belly and your chest expands out. When we become stressed, we have the shallow breathing, and everything is not functioning well in our bodies. So when you take a deep breath in, and as you're letting go, you're not only letting go of the air in your lungs, you're also letting go of the stress in your molecules and your body. And, if you just breathe, it gives you that space between the molecules for other possibilities to show up. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yes. Well, that's a very important statement. If there's anything somebody can learn from this call, is that exhaling is releasing the stress. But if you're
Yes.
not breathing properly, you are not exhaling that stress. And now one thing I
Yeah.
want to add on to that, because when I think of some of the oldies that I know, like my mother and her sister and all of that, when you see they're not breathing, they just, hardly breathing.
Yeah.
I also tell them is to drink clean water. Because, and I say clean water, I'm saying not tap water, because tap water is filled with poison that kills slowly. But drinking water also releases that stress. You feel a lot less stressed if you had to drink 2 glasses of water. So
Yes.
those are such simple methods, simple tools to use, and yet we want to sometimes look for a medication. And I say medication would be the last resort, that if you didn't know and you went for all the kinds of help. But I think somebody that's a life coach, or what, how would you turn your occupation?
So, just to go a little bit back to personal experience and part of the why I do what I do. When I was going through my trauma and stress, I had to look, I had to find. I was literally sitting in a corner every night, going to bed, sitting in the corner of my dressing room and crying, not knowing what next. And, I just got up one morning and said, listen, there has to be something more. And that's when I started looking and searching, and I came across all these different things. And it's not only the breathing, it's not only the water. There's like, there are so many tools. It's finding what works for you, and they are not difficult. It's not medication. It's not having to run up a hill for 10 kilometers or something. There are little things that you can say or do to change how you feel. And when you change how you feel, you change the things around you. Because remember, your energy doesn't stop with your body. Yes, we have this physical body, but we actually are much bigger than that. So when you start to change here, you also change everything around you, and you also start to attract that which you are vibrating at. So when you're happy, you'll tend to find happy people around you, happy things happening. You get invited to happy places, for example.
That's a very interesting thing you've mentioned about you're not just your body. And I was thinking of an example of when somebody in a different town or city phones you because they've been thinking about you. That's
Exactly.
where you are also been. And I think when we extend ourselves, who we are kind and helpful to other people, there will be more people that we will be extending ourselves to and helping. So we look like this big hen with feathers going out. But when we are
Yeah.
hen with plucked feathers, we're standing there alone, feeling sorry for ourselves and expecting everyone to look after us, basically being selfish in a sense that when we are, especially in your occupation, you are more other conscious than self-conscious, because you can't afford to be self-conscious when you are working with others and you're worried about what others think. Yes.
Yeah. So, what is self-conscious and what is it to be selfish? If I am not happy, if I am not healthy, if I'm not in a good state, I cannot help those around me. So I need to look at me first. I have to be well charged, on a good vibration, so that I can serve my clients in whichever way it is. And even if you're not in the field where you're serving clients, we have friends, family, employees that we need to, interact with. So you have to be selfish in a way where you charge or recharge yourself on a continuous basis. And you spoke about something which I think is vital, is judgment. We judge ourselves to such a capacity that we actually put ourselves on a downward spiral. And if there's something that I could leave viewers with today, is to stop the judgment of yourself. Stop making yourself wrong. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm ugly, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of it. And the list is endless. So we have those two voices in our head. I mean, one of the exercises that I do for self-love in terms of the body is, look in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful. And you're saying I'm beautiful, but there's an underlying thing that goes, shit, I have a big nose, or my eyes are skew, or something. So you then have that conflict. So you will use that clearing statement to get rid of that underlying voice that keeps nagging at us, that deviates us from that path of eternal joy and internal joy.
Yeah, this is very interesting because you're working with two realms at once. The one is the physical with the numbers, and the other one is the spiritual. Because it's all spiritual. The Afrikaners call it sielkunde, so it's soul knowledge, or soul awareness. And science can't prove what the soul and the spirit is doing, because science only proves the material world. And sometimes we get caught up with the science, and we're not aware that the world of emotions, love, hate, bitterness, respect, all of those feelings and emotions are real to us, even if we can't put it on a screen. And maybe Elon Musk he's trying to do that, to put it on a screen. But the world that the two work together. So we're not just a human machine, a human living being. We're not an AI robot. We actually are people with feelings and stuff. And our feelings, I believe, can be positive or negative towards our workplace, towards our business, towards everything we do, the way we treat others. So I think you're in a very unique position where you are working.
I am. And one of the things is your point of view creates your reality. So what you think creates your reality. If you think you're sad, without whatever is going on, you become sad. And small story quickly, I didn't have much choice of what I could study when I was ready for university, and I found myself studying accounting. I hated every single day of my accounting classes. I got into a job with an audit firm, and it was such a burden. And then I was like, okay, I have to make a decision here. Am I going to change my career, or am I going to start enjoying what I'm doing? So, which is it? And I mean, this is way long before I met any of this energy modalities. And I just decided, listen, I have to go to work every day. I have to earn an income. This is the job that I have. I'm going to be grateful for it. And you know what? I'm going to start to love what I do. And it was just changing the way I perceived things. And then I found I got to be really good at what I did. And it became fun. So, you know, it's a little thing like that where you just look at something and say, okay, what is required here? What do I need to do? Obviously, I could have chosen another thing and done a whole nother career. But at that point in time, I was like, let me just be happy and grateful for what I have. And that's where it's brought me. It's put a lot of bread and butter on the table.
Well, this is such an important thing you mentioned now, and I want this advice to go to young people, especially youngsters that are leaving school, wanting to start a career, and often being influenced what their parents think or what their parents want them to be. And they not necessarily have a passion towards it, and they want to fight and kick against the idea. And you said you hated what you were learning. I mean, I don't blame you. Anyone that does accounting, really, you either have a passion or it takes you a long time to develop a passion for that. So in the sense that while you are earning an income, or while you're learning to do something to earn an income, you can then use your income to actually go and do your passion eventually. And you can use both.
Yes, you can use both, or you can make whatever you're doing, you can make it your passion. You can learn to become really good at what it is that you do. And I think when you find that you have the skill and the talent for that particular thing, because you apply yourself, um, you know, it's like, okay, this has become easy. And another a little secret, I am not a mathematician. Do not ask me to add two numbers together. It takes me forever. And people, I go like, you're an accountant and you can't add two numbers together. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for the calculator. I can tell you where the numbers must go in your books, but let's use a calculator to add them up, please.
Well, I think of Henry Ford. That was he got into trouble with the media a few times because they said he wasn't clever enough. He didn't know answers and stuff. And he was in court once, and because he challenged the newspaper that on what they'd accused him of, and they were asking him a whole lot of general knowledge questions, to prove that he doesn't know anything. And he just answered randomly what he thought the answer was. And then at the end, when everyone was happy that he didn't know all the answers, he just said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in my office, I have a row of buttons in front of me, and I have all the right people to answer any question that needs to be answered. So if the paint is not mixing, I call the paint expert in. The person asked him the question, I learned from the answer. So he says, you need to only know you need to know the people who know the answers. Yeah. And I think with the internet now, these days, as you've said, you can find the right answers. I don't think Google always gives the best answers. Maybe YouTube, you might find better answers, but you will be able to operate with the technology the way it is. And as you said, calculator, and on an Excel spreadsheet, you can just put a whole lot of numbers down and it calculates it for you at the bottom. So I don't think a person should look at what your shortfalls are. I think you should look at where your passion is.
Absolutely. We all have inherent talents. We have talents that we can learn. We have those capacities. So again, it would be following the energy. What makes you happy? How to become happy with a particular thing or situation. And if you can't, then change it. Find the ways that you can change it so that you can be the best version of yourself and the happiest version of yourself.
Thank you, Nasreen. I think that was very, very good. What we're going to do is we're going to ask everybody that's watching the videos to like and subscribe to the video. And at the bottom of the video, I'm going to put Nasreen's contact details so that you can contact her personally should you need any help with any of the things we mentioned today, because this is a vital part. How happy are you in what you do? Because if you're miserable, you're going to be sick and you're going to have pain, and stuff will happen later in your life that you'll regret. Nasreen, what would you like to say in closing?
I would just like to say in closing that find what makes you happy. It's not out there, it's inside. And when you can be who you truly be from within, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. You'll be able to deal and cope and create what it is that you would like to have in your life.
Great. Thanks,
And
Nasreen.
stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself. You are just an amazing being. And look for those things that are amazing about you. And gratitude is a sort of a number one tool.
Yeah, I think one of the last things I want to say is that it's often the most intelligent people and the most beautiful people that are the most critical of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, just stop the criticism, stop the judgment. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me the space to share. And I'm happy to serve people in either the accounting field, numbers field, or the life coaching field, or both together, and see what it is that they require. And I'm so grateful for you and for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Nasreen. Have an awesome day further. Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers.